Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Work at Home Rockstar Podcast. Excited for today's guest. We are talking to the CEO of Faith Roar. And what he does is he helps people to become financially free through business and stock market investing. So I'm really excited to be rocking out today with Scott Curry. Hey, Scott, are you ready to rock?
I am ready to rock.
Awesome. So we always start off here on a good note. So tell me a story of success that we can be inspired by.
Absolutely. The company that I started, Faith Roar, started under a different name called We Profit Day and Night. And that company I started in January of 2021. 3 months later, I had replaced my six-figure income job and was making more money from my business than I was from my job. Quit my job and been running my business full time and got it up to over $250,000 per year in annual profits. So that's the inspiration. Let's talk about how we got there.
Yeah, that sounds difficult, especially considering you say you did that on part-time, right? You replaced your income part-time?
I wouldn't say it was part-time. It was two full-time jobs. When I made the decision to get started, I went after it hardcore. And I literally was working 16 to 20 hours per day, getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep per night for 3 straight months in order to make that happen. So it wasn't luck, it was a lot of hard work that paid off.
Why? Why'd you do that?
I had always had a dream of starting a business, and I had had multiple businesses that I had started and failed on all of them. I, a long time ago, was trying to do some business consulting, couldn't get any clients. Developed websites for a little bit very early on, back in the late 90s when they were first coming out. I had a little bit of success there, but really that was just a job. I didn't really like it. I started a school uniform company, which was great for about 1 month out of the year. But I found out that people buy school uniforms right before school and then they don't do anything for 11 months. So that didn't really work out. I tried selling jewelry for a while and that was okay, but it required a lot of time away from the family, going to different events and setting up vendor spaces pretty much every single weekend. I just had no life. I didn't like that. Tried a couple of MLMs, a little bit of success there. Again, didn't really work out. I eventually, right around 2018, got into motivational speaking and started to have some success there. And things were going great. I was speaking to larger and larger audiences, and then COVID hit, and the entire business just got completely shot in the foot. And then I didn't know what I was going to do. And at the end of 2020, I noticed a lot of people were online talking about stocks and investing. I decided to start a YouTube channel in January of 2021 talking about that. And I made the decision that I was just going to go for it. And I did. And I had a very personal reason for doing that. And it was because at that time, my kids were very young. And we had a gate up at the top of the stairs where our bedrooms were. And one morning I was leaving to head off to work at my job. And my 2 3-year-old boys, they were twins, came up to the top of the stairs, right up to that gate. And as I'm walking down the stairs, they're at the top of the gate crying, bawling in unison, saying, "Daddy, please don't go. Don't leave us. Daddy, don't leave us. Don't go." And it absolutely broke my heart. And I made the decision that day that I was going to find some way, somehow, to start a business that would allow me to work from home. And when that opportunity finally came up, I went after it with everything I had.
Wow, what a story. Yeah, the why, eh? Isn't that what does it? Because I mean, it's not easy, as you mentioned. I mean, you tried so many different things, and if you don't have that big why, then why would you keep going, right? Yeah.
Exactly. A lot of
Yeah.
those other businesses I tried failed.
Mhm.
Not necessarily because they were super bad, but because they weren't providing me time with my family, which was the whole point.
Yeah. Uh, so speaking of failure, though, I mean, we talk about the bad notes because there is a lot of that, right? I mean, most people in their entrepreneurial journey, actually, well, all people in their entrepreneurial journey make mistakes and things don't go quite as planned, and that tends to be what keeps people out of even trying in the first place. But it didn't keep you out, right? I'm wondering, what was the biggest one? What was the biggest failure, I guess, that happened that you experienced, and what can we learn from that?
It's really hard to identify one big failure because honestly, I don't really see any of those quote unquote failed businesses as failures. I see all of them as learning experiences. So, for example, when I was doing the MLMs and selling school uniforms and selling jewelry, all of that taught me sales skills that I was then able to apply to the business I'm running now. When I was doing the motivational speaking, that taught me the speaking skills that I was then able to use to produce YouTube videos and sound interesting and not boring. And so I don't necessarily see any of that as a failure. I see all of it as a learning experience that ultimately led to my success.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I mean, if you go into things with that kind of mindset, it helps as well because people will be around you saying, "Oh, yeah, that stuff doesn't work," right? I spent some time in MLM as well, and I mean, even though I actually did, I made some money as well, but in the end, like it's one of those things where if you can learn how to get over a pyramid type of objections and like just be personable with people and get to know people. Like there's so many positive skills that I learned from that have been transferred into something else. And if you go into every one of these, you know, things with the same mindset of like, I'm just going to learn this aspect, then all those skills, not all of them, most of those skills are transferable to another business down the line, right?
Exactly. And that's the whole point is a lot of people never really get started. I have seen so many people that have wanted to start a stay-at-home business and they will go as far as starting the company, they will get their LLC registered, they will go out and get business cards, maybe even create a website or a Facebook page, and yet they never really get beyond that point because either they're too scared to talk to people, they're too afraid of rejection, they are too afraid of what happens if it fails. They have their parents and sometimes their spouse even telling them that it's not going to work, that they're wasting their time, that they're going to lose their finances. It's stupid. It never works out. And every time I receive those rejections, and I got a lot of it from my dad and sadly some of it from my spouse,
Yeah.
every time I received those rejections, my rebuttal was always, but what if it does work? And I knew that one day it was going to work, and it did. And the but what if it does turned out to be even better than I could have ever imagined.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. And it's funny that you say that because I mean we do get these kinds of objections from the people even closest to us. But when you said something about people going out there and getting their business cards and getting their website and getting all that stuff, hey, actually, my main business is I do build websites, and oftentimes I'll actually turn people down because they're not ready yet. Like that's not the first step to running a business. It's not going out there and getting your business registered and starting to build websites and get business cards and all that stuff. The first step is making a sale. It's getting out there and doing something and showing that it actually works.
You
Because I
know,
think, go
I'm
ahead.
really appreciative you said that. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is really important. I think your listeners need to understand what you just said is that a lot of people will spend so much time planning and thinking about it, they never actually get started. And that happened to me in my very first business. I went out and got college graduated barely. I had a 2.5 GPA. I barely graduated, but I did graduate. And in my very first business, I tried to take all these things that I had learned in college about creating a business plan and doing marketing research and pricing research, competitive research, customer research, and did all this stuff, spent an entire year planning. And at the end of it, I had a huge pile of papers.
Mm.
And I realized that was worthless. Today, when I'm coaching people on how to start a business, I tell them straight up, do not create a business plan. Don't worry about business cards, a website, or any of it. Just get out there and get started. Go make your first sale. Because the old saying in business is sales will fix all of your problems. Once that money starts coming in, then use it to go get your business cards and everything else. I'm really appreciative you said that. And I think your listeners really need to understand that the biggest hurdle that people have to overcome is not taking action.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you know it's going to work if you don't make a sale? And I mean, I think that it's the funny thing is that the best businesses that I've seen come to me are the ones that they've got all this sale, all this stuff going on, and they don't have a website yet. And they're just like, I think I need a website now. And I'm like, yeah, you probably could use one. However, on the other hand, things are going well as they're going right now. So it kind of depends, right? I mean, I think a lot of people were building their businesses on, YouTube or on Facebook. And I think the only thing there would be that that's risky because those platforms could get shut down. So you do need to own something. But on the other hand, I mean, you just move to the next platform. I mean, there are lots of hiccups that are going to happen in your business, and you're going to have to be able to pivot, right?
Absolutely. And I've even seen local $1 million plus revenue companies and all they have is a Facebook page.
Mhm.
And it
Yep.
works. People tend to overanalyze and think, oh, I need this great image, I need this website, I need a business guide. No, you don't. What you need to do is go make sales. And it's hard at first, and your conversion rates are really low because honestly, you don't know how to sell. It's something that takes time, something that you have to learn. And sometimes you're going to have to pivot. There are people that will start a business and it's just not the right business. Either it's not the right business for them, it's not the right market, it's not the right timing, whatever it is, it's just not the right thing. And a lot of people will, especially some of these start at home and work from home people, will start a business. It's not working out. And instead of quitting and pivoting and trying something new, they just stick with it. And sometimes I run into people, they said, oh, I've been doing this for 15 years. Well, how's it working out? Oh, I make $500 a month. Well, that's not a business, that's a hobby.
Yeah.
And some people are okay with that, I guess, but I would much rather have something that allows me to quit my job, get out of that job that I hate, or even if you don't hate your job, at least not have to worry about being limited to a set amount of vacation time, not have to worry about having to go into the office when your son is sick, not have to worry about missing your kids' soccer games and after school events because you have to work, and just being able to have the time freedom of a work from home business so that I can stay home with my kids when they're sick. I can attend every single after school event that they have. I don't have to miss any time with them whatsoever. That is so much better than working at a job, even if you love your job. And my experience is most people don't love their job. So it's a double benefit. Not only do you get to go do something that you enjoy, you also get more time with your family. But it does require pivoting. If your first business isn't working, go try another one. I am on my 8th business before I finally found something that works. And I am so glad that I kept trying and kept trying and kept trying because the results are far better than I could have ever imagined.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have this sort of analogy that I use quite often. In music, it's really easy to understand. So there is no guitarist in the world. Pick any of the best guitarists in the world that picked up the guitar and they were awesome when they first picked it up. They all sucked first. And so it's one of those things where in order to really get good at pretty much anything, you have to be okay with sucking at first. You got to get through that, right? So, I mean, you mentioned that, someone's, going at it for 15 years and they're still sucking, right? Like, I think there's like this like I don't know, there's like a fine line, or there's a transition point where you've got to be like you've got to be okay with being bad at first, but at some point you got to realize that you're probably not going to get it, right? How do you
Yeah,
figure that out?
absolutely. I think for every person, it's different. If let's go back to your music analogy, and I think it's a good one. You're picking up the guitar or the piano or whatever instrument. If you're practicing that for 10 minutes per month,
Yeah,
you're probably going to suck after 15 years.
yeah,
And in that case, you have to look at yourself and say, am I really putting in the effort that I need to make this successful? If you've got a business idea and you're talking to one person per month about it, you're not going to find the success you're looking for. And it's not necessarily the wrong business. You just haven't put in the effort to make it work. On the other hand, if you're practicing the guitar or the piano for an hour per day and you've been doing it for an entire year and you still suck, it's probably not the right thing for you. And it's probably time to move on and try something else.
yeah. Now, and then just to add to that, it's unlikely that that's going to happen. Like, I think what ends up happening, if we're really honest with ourselves, is we aren't really putting in the time, and for whatever reason, either it's not aligning with us or whatever it is. Because, I mean, I can't think of any reason why you would be spending, 1, 2, 3 hours a day on anything and not getting better at it, right?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, in business, it's a little bit different because generally, if you're going to pick up an instrument and learn it, you've got some interest in doing that
Mm,
and you find enjoyment out of it pretty much right away.
yeah,
The difference with a business is it's not enjoyable at first. It's a lot of hard work, it's time away from the family, it's money that has to be invested. It's not really that enjoyable at first. You will find enjoyment later on. Certainly, and I can tell you from experience, if you have a $30,000 month worth of profit, you're going to find some enjoyment in that business, no matter what it is. So the enjoyment definitely comes, but it takes a lot of hard work at first.
yeah,
And a lot of people don't want to put in that hard work. They want to delay. They come up with a lot of excuses. Well, I'm just so busy right now at my job. I'm up for a promotion. I've got to put in extra time. My kids are doing all kinds of events. I can't miss anything. I'm just so busy right now. And what happens is they have this incredible idea in their head that could really go exceedingly well for them. And they just put in a little bit of time here and there on it because they feel like they don't have time to work on it because they're so busy. And what people don't realize is that if they put in the time, they would eventually be able to quit their job and they'd have a lot more time free to spend with their family. And people get into this stuck mud thinking that, oh, I don't have enough time with my family, so I can't go start a business in order to get more time with my family. And it makes no logical sense. The best thing you could do logically is to take a short period of time. For me, it was 3 months. Take a short period of time where you go hardcore, focus on it, make it work. And then you can have years of additional time with your family, your kids, and doing all the things that you love, whether it's going on vacations, going out to different music festivals, or whatever it is. You can go do those things because you now have the time and money to go do them. So why wait to get started? And when I say get started, I'm not talking about working on it an hour a week. I'm talking about going at it hardcore. Why wait to go do that? Why wait to make your life better? It doesn't make any sense. You might as well just go ahead and do it now.
yeah. Well, Scott, and it's funny, like, so I would argue that there is also uh, some fulfillment in actually solving the problem. So, I mean, business, as we know, is about solving problems, and you do get some happiness from like delivering, right? And like making the client happy. Now, the point between that, that's the annoying part, right? Trying to figure out. But then once the client's happy and you're like, wow, that feels good as a business owner. And so, like you say, if we could just figure out how to get to that point as quickly as possible, avoid all the planning and all the business plan and all that stuff, just get to the point where you've got a happy client, then all of a sudden that feedback loop starts to happen, and now you're going like, okay, well, that was great, I want to do that again. And try to stop yourself right at this point, because that's the feeling that you're going for, right?
Exactly. And the best thing about that is, as you learn how to find that first client, you learn a lot of things about sales, how to talk to people, how to present yourself, and how to work with a client and work through all the issues that you have, and ultimately deliver a happy client. And you're then able to use all that on your second client, and then your third and your fourth and your fifth, and your conversion rate gets a lot better. And over time, you spend a lot less time on marketing and sales and a lot more time making customers happy. And that in turn makes you a lot happier.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be a win-win. Otherwise, why are you doing this, right? You know, and like you say about there is some struggles, obviously, in the very beginning. I mean, we're not really taught a lot of the skills that we need. Like, we're not taught sales in school. We're not taught accounting in school. We're not taught all these other things that are the challenges that you'll come across when you're running your business. But uh, you know, presumably, whatever it is, the thing that you want to help your client with is something that you have some sort of connection with, hopefully, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's sad that a lot of this is not taught in school, but that's okay. It can be learned. My number one motto in life is don't let school get in the way of your education. You should be constantly going out there and learning these important life skills like sales and how to talk to people. And it's harder these days because everybody wants to stick their phone in their face and do everything online. But it's that personal in-person connection that really teaches you the most, which you can then go out and apply to those online skills as well. And it's, Jeff Bezos says it great. He says, fail small, meaning you just keep trying. You try something out, it doesn't work, move on. Try something out, it doesn't work, move on. Try something out, it doesn't work, move on. Eventually, you're going to find what does work. And that's when your whole life changes.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, because finding the fans, finding the people to like your business and all that stuff. I mean, the audience is huge now. The whole landscape has changed. 20, 30 years ago, I mean, when I was in MLM, for example, I had to go to a coffee shop or a bookstore and actually talk to somebody, right, in order to try to create a conversation. You know, but now I don't know if anybody even does that. I think you'd be called weird if you're trying to talk to somebody in public. Now it's all on social media, right? But since everybody's there, how do you cut through? Like, what are the ways that you find things that will work?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the landscape has definitely changed. I think there's 2 points that are really important. The first one is there's an old saying in business that you will be paid based upon the value that you provide. And I used to think that meant that I had to provide a lot of value to one person. So I was out there trying to get $10,000 out of a single person. And when that didn't work, I was like, all right, let me just try to get $2,000 out of 5 people. And that didn't really work that well either. And I found it to be really hard. And my entire mindset shifted when I realized the internet was a great place to make a ton of money using that same thing. You're paid based upon the value that you provide, but taking a completely opposite approach. Rather than trying to provide a lot of value to one person, I'm now trying to provide a little bit of value to a lot of people. So if I can get in front of 10,000 people and get $1 out of every person per month, that's $10,000 per month. I'm doing all right. And so when we're looking at online, we really have to be looking at a very wide net and trying to help out as many people as possible in just one small way. And so what I did when I was first starting out is I went into a lot of Facebook groups. I went into Discord forums, Reddit. I went into places where there were a lot of people already that had a particular niche or interest. And then I would post in there, and I wasn't promoting, I wasn't selling. I would start out just answering people's questions. I try to answer as many questions as possible and just establish myself as an expert. And I did that for about a month, got established as an expert in a lot of these different groups. And then when it was time to actually launch the business and start promoting it, I would respond to people's questions with, oh, I actually created a whole video on this. Here's a short answer, but here's all the details in this video link. And I've seen other people on there say, well, here's an answer to your question, but if you want to know more, just give me a call. And they'll post their phone number. And that honestly, in today's world, is the best way to grow a business, is to be valuable, put yourself out there as an expert, answer people's questions, help them out. And in turn, people will trust you and they'll start doing business with you. And, it's okay to be a little bit of a rebel sometimes. When I was trying to start out and I was trying to grow very, very quickly, I made the decision that I was going to do a little bit of guerrilla marketing, break a few rules in order to grow quickly. And I went into a particular Reddit forum that had some very strict rules against marketing, but it was a very large community and I knew I could get a lot of eyeballs on it right away. I knew I was going to get banned, but I didn't care. So I went into the Reddit community, made a post basically promoting my videos, and within 5 minutes, I had 300 subscribers. The post got taken down 5 minutes after I made it. I got banned. I'm looking at my 300 subscribers. I'm like, that was totally worth it. So sometimes it can be worth it to break the rules a little bit, but just know you don't want to do that too often. You don't want to get a bad reputation in the community, but feel free to break the rules. A lot of what we're taught in school is how to conform. And that's great if you're going to go do a job. It's great if you're in the military. It's not so great if you're trying to start a business. You've got to be constantly trying new things, constantly doing things differently than everybody else, and constantly breaking rules.
I hate to say it, that's absolutely true. I mean, you look at all the people that have, really made it, and can you count any of them that did it by following all the rules? Like, it's just that's the way the world works, right? I mean, we're put in these boxes, and if you stay in the box, you'll never get anywhere. However, if you break out of it, then all of a sudden things start to happen. Do bad things happen too? Maybe, but I mean, you learn from them, as you said earlier, right? I mean, these failures that we have are all learning experiences. We take that lesson and we go to the next thing and we grow, right?
Yeah, if you do what everybody else does, you're going to have what everybody else has, which is a life working at a job that you hate, barely making enough money to pay your bills, in constant stress about how you're going to take care of your finances, racking up credit card debt, and not spending nearly enough time with your family. But if you're willing to do what nobody else is willing to do, you're going to live a really great life.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, maybe at some point everybody will do it, but I mean, I think there's just different personalities. I think some people really like that structure and some people don't. So if you're being sort of like drawn towards, this extra, then I mean, the help is out there, right?
The help is absolutely out there. And, it's a really interesting world we live in today. YouTube is a great educational platform. Pretty much everything you could ever want to know is on YouTube. And the funny thing is, I've spoken to a lot of coaches and they tell me that they promote teaching people a lot of information. But at the end of the day, once they actually bring that client on board, they don't really need any additional information. People generally know what to do. And if they don't, they know where to go find the answers to their questions. What people usually need is a kick in the butt. They just got to get started.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that people need to understand. It's the biggest thing that you as a listener really should grasp onto is it's not about needing to know how to do things. It's really about just putting yourself out there and taking action and taking risks and being willing to have people tell you you're an idiot, being willing to have people tell you no, being willing to have people tell you it's a stupid idea, and knowing full well that all of those people might be right for now, but they're 100% wrong in the future. And your future self is going to prove everybody wrong. So go out, find all those people that are hating on it and telling you that it's a bad idea and it'll never work, and then set out to prove them wrong.
I love that so much. Well, and I mean, just to kind of address the other part. So there are people, like you say, that they need that structure. They're not the entrepreneurial mindset and all that stuff. We need those people because for the people that do have that entrepreneurial mindset, we can't do everything. We can't hire a bunch of rebels that are going to break all the rules in our businesses as well. We need some people that are rule followers in order for us to get some money. Now, we can treat them extremely well, right? Because that's what, we don't have to treat them like they have been treated in previous jobs because we are the business owners. Now, I'm wondering, do you hire people in your business?
I do. So I have no employees, but I have dozens of contractors. And, it's a really important thing that you just said is if 10% of us are entrepreneurial, 90% of us aren't. And it's those 90% that really help everybody become successful because we need people that are going to go out, they're going to do a job, they're going to follow the rules, they're going to do what we ask them to do. And so I absolutely will seek those people out. And when I'm trying to hire people, I'm looking for the best of the best. I'm not looking for people that are just content collecting a paycheck. I'm looking for people that are really out there hustling and trying to make it themselves. So honestly, if you're listening to this, like I'm not a rebel, I got to follow the rules. And I find a lot of people who are veterans are in this boat is that the best thing you can do to create a very highly successful work from home business is to do what you learned how to do in your job, but then apply it as a contractor to other people and then be the absolute best you could possibly be at providing those services. So for example, you are a web developer, go be the best web developer you could possibly be and provide that service to other people as a contractor that then allows you to work from home. If you are a beauty consultant, then go do the best you can do. If you love doing hair, set up a salon in your house and get clients into your house and be the best you could absolutely be. If you learn some special skill in the military, then go start a defense contracting company and be a consultant as a contractor and do that. There are a lot of different ways that we can find ways to work from home and provide a lot of value to people. If you're rebellious, go start a company, go do something different, go change the world. If you're a rule follower, go help those people that are trying to change the world because they're making a ton of money and they got a lot of money to pay you. So be the best you can possibly be. There's a lot of different ways of doing it. There's a lot of different ways of improving our lives. The most important thing is we've just got to get started.
Absolutely. All right. So it is time for your guest solo. So tell me what's exciting in your business.
So I got to go back and share a quick story here. Last month, my mom passed away.
Oh,
and on one hand, yes, it's very sad. It was also kind of a blessing for me personally because I had built up a business where I was able to take as much time off as I needed and still get some residual income. The last 3 weeks she was alive, I was in the hospital with her every single day. And I cannot tell you how appreciative I am to be able to go do that. And the day she passed away, my dad told me something I'd never heard before. He said that my mom had one regret in life. And he explained that when I was born and when my sister was born, that my mom wasn't in a place financially where she felt secure enough to stay at home and raise us. So she continued to work at her job, and we ended up going into daycare as infants. And it was really the daycare teachers that raised us. And when my brother was born, he's the youngest, my mom finally felt secure enough to quit her job and raise my brother. And about a year after raising my brother, my mom told my dad that she regretted not raising my sister and I.
Wow.
And when I heard that, I just felt it deep down in my gut that I wanted to make sure that nobody would ever have to make a decision between working at a job or being there for their kids. And I made the decision that day that I was going to start another company, really expand the company I was currently running. And I was going to help people become financially free. And that is how Faith Roar came about. It's all about having the faith to know that you can change your life, you can stay home with your kids, and you can make enough money to be there for your family during times of crisis, and then letting that faith roar by going out and taking action and making it happen. So, in addition to teaching people how to invest in the stock market and make money with stocks and options, I am also now helping people start their own businesses and become financially free. And if that's something that speaks to you and you're saying, yes, I want to leave my job, I want to work from home, I want to spend more time with my family and be there with them, I need to make more money so I can pay my bills, I hate the fact that I have to keep buying Christmas presents on a credit card, and I want to change that, then come check out faithroar.com. The vast majority of the resources are completely and totally free because I really want to help you become financially free. This is kind of like my nonprofit ministry, my way of giving back to help lift up others who are coming up behind me. I've had my success. I am doing extremely well. And now I'm trying to give back by helping you find your success as well. So please go visit faithroar.com. And I sincerely hope that I can help you change your life for the better.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So what is it, what does the process look like? They go to faithroar.com, they start looking at some of these resources, then what? What happens from there?
So we have 3 pillars. We start out with motivation, which is the free YouTube videos. Watch the YouTube videos, hear incredible success stories, just like you are today, and learn a few tips about what it takes to actually start a business. Second stage of that is education. And we have some courses and we have some other events, such as some communities that you can join to learn from others with. And then that third step is the mentorship, where we provide a much more individualized, focused mentorship that can either be one-on-one or in a group setting to help you get started and help you grow your business and make a lot of money. So to start out, the resources are free. Starting in January, we are going to be doing live events throughout the country to help people out as well.
Wow. Do you think that people would be able to like get enough from your free resources to be able to get started on something?
It's like I said earlier in this podcast, it's really not about the information. You can certainly go on the free resources. You can get all the information you need to about how to start a business. You can Google anything. You can watch YouTube videos to learn anything. The thing that hinders people is not education, it's motivation. And so the videos do focus a lot on education, and there's a lot of great content there. But at the end of the day, what you really need is that motivation. And that's what we're trying to provide with the videos as well as the communities, is getting you motivated by hearing stories of other people who are successful, how they did it, and knowing that you can do it too.
Love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Scott. That's so awesome. And it's right in line with the mission of this podcast. I want more people to have that success and, like you say, be able to have those options to stay home with the kids if they choose to do so, right? So that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So this is the hardest
Thank you
question of
so
the day, though.
much.
Tell me, who's your favorite rock star?
My favorite rock star. See, this is a hard one for me
Yep.
because, oof, it's so hard because there's so many mentors in life. There's so many people who have helped me get to where I am. Um, I'm going to be honest with you. My greatest motivation is seeing people who are highly successful, who have done it, that I then grasp onto and say, hey, I can do that too. For me personally, it's kind of a toss up between Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos,
Mm,
two incredible entrepreneurs who have broken all the rules, have overcome extreme challenges to find success. And when I look at the lives of those two people, there's some things that they've done that you can agree with or disagree with. There's some things about them that you're going to love, and there's some things about them you're going to hate. But at the end of the day, there's no denying how successful they are. And I really admire and look up to both of those entrepreneurs as, hey, these are people that started from their garage. These are people who literally started with nothing and look at where they are today. And if they can do it, so can I.
yeah. Yeah. The tenacity is what they need, right? Right on. Well, thank you so much for rocking out with me today, Scott. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. It's been awesome.
Awesome. And to the listeners, make sure you go to workathomerockstar.com for more information, and we'll see you next time on the Work at Home Rockstar podcast.